Hey, good Wednesday morning, and thanks for checking out your latest long range forecast analysis. Michael Clark here with BAMWX.com. We've got a major Category 4 Hurricane Milton headed for the west coast of Florida, likely to be one of the most intense, prolific hurricanes the west coast of Florida has ever seen, especially in the region it's heading towards. We're going to break down what that looks like, the timing, the impacts, and everything that we think is going to come with that in the video now. And then I'm also going to share with you some long range thoughts outside of this here in the next couple of weeks to tell you kind of where the pattern's going to go. So let's get right into this. We ask that you tag a friend, share this, repost it, whatever the case may be. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd appreciate the support. This is a look here at the satellite this morning, and you might be thinking, well, you know what, that looks a little disorganized a little bit. I want to show you something here. We're going to go back through several frames, and you would be right in thinking so. Over the last couple of hours, what looks like a bit of an attempt at another eye wall replacement cycle here. We're going to see how this goes. If it can come out on the other side as a successful process here over the next 6 hours or so, the sad and the unfortunate thing is that this storm would only grow in its coverage. There are some indications on the latest recon that this storm is in fact trying to do that. So again, we're watching that very closely. This is again satellite as of 8 a.m. Eastern time. These are the indications here of at least some hints, not only on radar reflectivity satellite, but also recon data that it is trying at least to do that right now. Now, I will tell you, the Milton, as it stands right now, it's still a Category 5 hurricane, and central pressure is 908 millibars. It's still a very strong hurricane. This is our forecast right now for landfall. We think just between Bradenton and Sarasota as a Category 4 hurricane, right around 1 a.m. tonight, possibly 2 a.m. Again, when you think about coming straight in from the coast from a west to east standpoint, it's really going to be a storm to the likes of which this area has never seen before in anyone's lifetimes, at least right now. It's not good. It's worst case scenario, and it's just something we're really concerned about. The only thing we can hope for is Milton is headed into an immense level of wind shear, and the wind shear can possibly help with taking the storm down a notch or two on its intensity. I'll show you this real quick. This is what Milton is heading into, its environment. And you can see it's unfavorable for continued growth. The idea, though, is, or the thought process is, this storm is already so big and so well organized that we're not quite sure how it's really going to interact with this, because there are previous major hurricanes, Category 5, Category 4 strength, that have overcome these environments anyways and continue to progress forward. So Category 1 maintains hurricane force wind over Florida, over central Florida, and that is going to be bad news on several fronts here. This is our max wind forecast graphic. 80 plus mile per hour winds are going to be favored here across central Florida. Places like Winter Haven over here, Orlando, 60 to 80 mile per hour winds. Palm Bay on the other side of this, Port St. Lucie, Sebring, Tampa Bay, and St. Petersburg. Now, the good thing, obviously, is the eye is trying to avoid Tampa Bay, but it's still really close. So just south of the bay for landfall right now. Now that's going to mean a really, really nasty storm surge. All right, this is the storm surge forecast right now, 9 to 15 feet plus, basically from Newport Richey down to just about Cape Coral, or just north of Cape Coral. All right, and then you're 8 to 12 feet in the Fort Myers Beach area, and just south of that down towards close to Marco Island, almost a 5 to 9 foot storm surge. A storm surge to this magnitude. Again, I want to kind of preface Helene, where it was 9 to 15 feet. Helene was 6 to 9 feet. So you're possibly doubling the storm surge. So you're going to be really looking at some historical, just worst case scenario storm surge across the area, wiping a lot of stuff out, homes, businesses, all up and down the coast. It's the worst. It's the worst thing you could really imagine right now. This is the rainfall forecast, 8 to 12 inches plus across north central Florida, along with hurricane force winds, along with this area that's already gotten 3 to 6 inches of rain over the last 7 days. The ground is completely saturated. There's a major risk for flooding. In fact, I do believe that the Weather Prediction Center has the area in a high risk of flooding across the state, and they do. Orlando included in that, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater Beach, a high risk for excessive rainfall and flooding, 70% or greater risk at this point in the area highlighted here. So you're going to have hurricane force winds, 130 mile per hour sustained winds, and then you're going to have flooding rains and storm surge. All right. When the hurricane again does make landfall, we are forecasting 130 mile per hour sustained winds. Severe storm potential will be another thing with this. It's highly likely on the south and east side of the area of low pressure, there will be tornadoes and severe weather. Okay, that's going to be another factor to this that we're going to be watching, along with, obviously, everything else I've mentioned. Okay, I am looking right now at radar, and I'm looking at I'm going to pull it over here. I'm looking at the Doppler radar reflectivity, and I'm noticing, I think, the potential here at some replacements in the eye wall here with the convection popping up. Again, I want to see how this comes out on the other side. But if it clears out again after this cycle up here, that eye may be quite a bit bigger. It's not going to be a very good thing. It's not what we want to see, if you're asking me. Okay. Beyond this hurricane, when it pulls out of here, when the hurricane exits Thursday afternoon out of Florida, if you will, what we're going to be looking at here, let me move this, in terms of impacts, is that of which another big cold front. Okay, this is our impactful weather outlook here. Another big cold front to be possible coming through, a big frost risk potentially here, the 11th through the 15th. Something to keep in mind. Confidence is kind of increasing next week on a big cold front and a potential big shot at widespread hard frost possibly. You can see that front coming through. Comes through here's the 14th, here's the 15th, and there's the 16th. So that's kind of right on average here for the average first frost date, especially across much of the Ohio Valley. So that kind of makes a lot of sense. The pattern is going to continue to maintain a very dry look. This is week 1 in precipitation from forecast normal. You can see that everybody's below normal precipitation. Week 2, we continue that theme. It just is a quiet pattern. It's cold. It's cold next week, all right, especially in the east. But then, as I mentioned here, there it is. And then it will start to warm up a little bit late in the week 2 period as we get out closer to the end of October, which, if you've been watching my long-range outlooks, I've been kind of projecting a warm end to the month and possibly a warm Halloween, or warmer, especially than we've seen in the last several years. Okay, if we take it out to the 16 to 30-day time frame, we look here at the weeks 3 and 4 forecast, October 22nd through November 4th. I think this can start cooler or start warmer and then end cooler, perhaps. I think, the 22nd through the 30th or 31st, it can be warm. And then perhaps another big front might be in there. There's going to be a couple of big fronts to watch. Okay. But again, I think there can be warmth in the east around or before Halloween, followed by another shot of cooler air coming into the area as well. The precipitation outlook, it doesn't really change. It just continues to maintain a below normal precipitation forecast with a risk in the tropics. You see my tropical risk mentioned down there. That may fire back up, and I want to talk about that here. This is a look at the forecast. And what you're looking at right now is you want to look at this upward motion as it's been found here over the Indian Ocean. As it propagates and moves east, we place another area of favorable upward motion here over the Atlantic again, late October. All right, you can kind of see that wave right now that's been responsible right up here. You can see the green up here that's been responsible for the upward motion. And we're not really out of the woods yet here, because here right here, and then we kind of go. We kind of move this as a time scale. We move this forward, okay? And what I want you to note is this earlier upward motion is what's kind of promoted or prompted the development of the environment that we're in now. If this green, this rising air, continues to propagate or move east, as this extended model says here, back into the Atlantic, it's late October, early November where the tropics may get active yet again. Okay. Current thought process on the November forecast is, if anything, it can be cooler in the east, much like October. I think I think the deeper we get into November, it can get colder. One thing that we are watching and have been mentioning is a rapid start to winter. We do think that the December forecast actually can be rather cold. This is the current December forecast right now, colder than the 10 and possibly 30-year normals, much colder than last year. The winter may start very early and very, very quickly, but it may end sooner too, based on some other analogs as well. Okay. That's kind of the thought process on the long range forecast for now, guys. If you have questions, toss them in the comments, let us know. Please share the video, repost it, tag someone. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, keep you posted on the latest. For everyone in the path or is impacted by Hurricane Milton, thoughts and prayers to you all. Stay safe.